Hey guys, Tim here. I want to talk a little bit today about my 2022 bow setup. The reason why I want to talk through this and make a video of it is because there's some helpful lessons learned and some things I think that would be helpful to share for anyone else going through the same thing or looking to upgrade their setup before hunting season or for next year. Just want to put a disclaimer out there. I am by no means an authority in archery. This is just something that has been fun for me to dive into, like learning new things. I'm absolutely a student still of this, so keep that in mind. A lot of the things here, you could have reasoning against why you would do one thing or another, but this is what has worked the best for me. So 2022 bow setup, I'll talk through it. So first thing to note, my first bow I got about 2 years ago. I actually got it a little over 2 years ago, right before we had our first kid, and it was kind of a random purchase right before the birth of a child. A little bit random of a family decision, but it was something I had always kind of wanted to get into, and I thought, now or never. Things are about to be up in the air. Anyway, first bow was a Blackout S3. I got it at Bass Pro. It was like a $400 bow. Comes with everything. You know, it's got a stabilizer, release, the whole 9 yards. And I think they always have bows that are like normally $600, $700, but are on clearance for $400. It's because those brands are out constantly buying each other. But there's just always like a clearance bow like that's marketed as like an intermediate bow. So I grabbed that Blackout S3 with like Christmas money and have nothing bad to say about it. It was awesome to kind of learn on, to get in a lot of reps to shoot. When I got that bow, I promised myself I would not upgrade until I had some success with it in the field. The end of 2020, Kyle and I decided that we wanted to do tack. And that was something that we had just been talking about. Not sure if we'd go like in the next year, maybe in a couple years, want to get our bow setups figured out. And we actually just kind of went off the deep end and decided we were going to do it because they announced it was going to be in broken bow. So tack first year this year, having it in broken bow was really cool. It was a great opportunity for us to just dive into our setups and get ready to go do that shoot. So that kickstarted everything. I ended up getting this guy. I started shopping kind of the used market on forums, eBay, and I always had wanted a Mathews. Actually, I really wanted a used Mathews. So this was actually, and this is the Mathews Halon 6. This popped up, and I want to say I got it for a steal. I ended up getting it for about $450. Which was really fortunate for me. You know, it came with the quiver. This quiver alone, I think you could sell for like $100. And I also had a release on it that I sold. It was a QAD, and I sold it for like $90 on eBay. But the bow I got an absolute deal on, so I was really excited there, really fortunate, and it was a huge way to upgrade without breaking the bank. So a lot of you guys out there thinking about upgrading, if you're patient and opportunistic, you might be able to catch a deal where you get, you know, a gently used Mathews, you know, 3 to 5 years old for sub $500. It happens out there. Anyway, shout out to Archery Talk forum for this. That was an awesome way to find one, and that community is great. So basically ended up getting this guy 1 month before tack. It wasn't set to my draw length. I had ideas of getting a slider style sight on it and getting everything figured out, practice a lot, set a sight tape, and shoot tack in 1 month. So I'm going to talk through all the different pieces and how all that came together. So first thing was the sight. This sight is, I would say, especially significant in the setup of the bow, and I'm going to advocate for it a little bit because this sight, I would say, competes with a lot of the sights that are selling for $300 plus. All these sights that everyone's talking about that are really hard to get, manufacturers can't get them out fast enough for buyers. This sight competes with those. I have no qualms or doubts about someone getting this sight and being pleased with the results if, you know, tuned properly with the whole bow. Anyway, this is a Black Mountain carbon driver. It's a dovetail, it has a carbon dovetail. It's actually, I believe it's made by PSE, or PSE owns the company that's making this. So it's really kind of tailored for PSE bows, but I've got it mounted to the outside of the Mathews Halon. But this sight was 120 bucks. I'll put the link in here. You guys can check it out. But for $120, you're getting the windage adjustment. You're getting all 3 axis, a slider style sight. Anyway, $120. Excellent sight to start shooting long, upgrade your fixed sight. You know, just a way to kind of bump your sight game to the next level without breaking the bank, especially if you sell the sight you have to get this one. So yeah, that was the main thing. So I got this guy on. After that, the other thing I knew I wanted to do is get a limb driven release, or a limb driven rest on here. So I just reached for the cheapest Hamskea that's available. It's the Hamskea primer. For the price, you're getting a lot of performance. Basically, I'll say awesome. So for a limb driven rest, it's one of the more lightweight ones. It's not going to be as durable, if you will. Probably not as it's not going to hold its tuning for as long through time. Just the pieces are not as robust as the upper level ones. But that's something I'm okay with, given the price. I think I got this one used for about 75 bucks. I think normally it retails like 120. So you're not up in the $200, $300 level with that. Moving through, the next piece I want to talk about is just getting this all tuned and set up. So 1 month before tack, I got this guy, and I immediately ordered 60X custom strings to replace the strings because the strings were pretty shot out. The guy who sold it to me didn't know how old the strings were, so that was an indicator right then. I got to get new strings. So I grabbed the strings and a Peep, and as soon as those came in, I took it to a local shop, and I wish I could have had time to tinker with this and do more of it here and get a bow press and everything and figure it all out. But just given the time constraint and my general lack of knowledge tuning a bow, it was really ideal to take all this to a shop. They knew absolutely exactly what to get into to get it tuned, and they set me up really well. So basically got those strings on. If I could go back and do the strings again, I would have got this Speed Knox put on by 60X. That's something I wasn't really sure about, so I just left them off because I knew I could get them on if I wanted. So the shop ended up putting them on, which is a little more expensive. It's probably not as balanced based on how 60X would do it in their fabrication process, but that's the only thing I would change probably in that whole tuning process. But anyway, can't say enough about taking your bow to a shop. Definitely worth the time, and those guys have limitless expertise. People coming in every day talking about this kind of stuff. They've seen it all, so that really shined when they got this and kind of heard what I was going for with this setup. So anyway, D-loop and the cable on the limb driven rest, I got all that to kind of match, as well my serving thread. So, and aesthetically it ended up kind of being a good setup for me. I liked it. Got to shoot it a little bit after they set it up for the first time, and I was really pleased with kind of how it felt, how it sounded. And then they also got my mods. So the last thing I'll say with this is the stabilizer. I ended up getting that at the shop. I was researching to get some cheaper ones on Amazon. But basically, Amazon, once I was in the shop, looking around, talking with the tech who was tuning my bow, I got to thinking, whatever money I'm going to spend on Amazon by getting some stabilizer is just not worth it when, you know, I can support the shop here and kind of, for all the stuff they did for my bow, getting it set up and tuned. I heard the least thing I could do is just grab a stabilizer there. So I got the one they recommended. I wanted a 10-inch to 12-inch, nothing crazy long. This is also my first time shooting a stabilizer, you know, past like 6 inches, the one that came with my Bass Pro bow. So this is a good like entry level thing. But anyway, this is the Control Freak by Conquest Archery, and really pleased with it. It's kind of bare bones, no frills. I mean, it's really simple. You can change out the weights if you want to kind of tune it how you need, but I really like just the simplicity of it. Hasn't given me any problems by any means. And then lastly, last thing on here I'll touch on is my wrist loop bow sling. This is something I'm going to put the link into the info below, but basically this thing it's basically a metal plate, and there's a lot of different really simple versions of this. I was looking at some kind of fancier ones, and I thought I was like in for 15 or 20 bucks to get one of these, but this one is actually for sale right now for like $297, and it's just a metal plate with some pins where you can put in your own cord. So if you wanted to get your own cord, or you wanted to, you know, make it, tie some knots or something special, you could put your own inside this plate. But I thought this was a kind of a cool pickup for $297. It's exactly what I wanted. Something real low profile where I could put in my own cord, or, you know, be able to kind of modify or customize it as I need it. So that was a cool pickup. And then lastly, once we got to tack, I knew I'd wanted some of these engaged limb legs, and I finally, they had them there for sale at a booth, and I basically grabbed them because I wanted to be able to enjoy setting my bow down throughout the couple days of shooting without worrying about, you know, where I'm laying it and things like that. So since then I've been running these if I go shoot, or I'm planning on using them hunting. I don't feel like they get in the way at all. It's really convenient just to be able to set down your bow. So that was kind of a splurge. The limb legs were definitely a splurge in my setup. It was pretty much the only area where I put cost aside and just went for the right thing, regardless of price. So definitely like that. I would say check them out if you're on the fence. It's been worth it for me. The next thing I want to talk about is what's next, what I'll do differently with this setup. Next year, I think I'll probably look to upgrade the stabilizer. I'm not so interested in upgrading the stabilizer bar itself, but I want to tinker with the 10-degree drop. You know, I've heard about the figure 8 versus the loop with how your stabilizer, your weight is set. So I want to experiment with that. So I'll probably get a different disconnect here that has the 10-degree, and then also want to mess with like a small rear stabilizer setup to oppose the front. So that's something I haven't messed with at all, but I'll definitely looking to try. So that would be next. Lastly, I won't go too in the weeds, but I'll talk about my arrows. So the arrow is probably the other area where I'm most prone to upgrading next. But I will say I'm shooting the Shields Vendetta Pro arrow. This is probably the best arrow, to my knowledge, that you could go buy out of a box at a big box store. You know, it's already pre-fletched and shoot pretty competitively as far as those boxed arrow goes. You know, for sub $50. So these, I'll say, are special, and I'm hesitant to even say this, but these arrows every Christmas have gone on sale for $35 a box for a half dozen. And for that price, these stun me in regards to their performance. They've shot really well. And for the price, I don't think I'm ready to go up to like a $200 per dozen setup. I'm happy with these. So anyway, these are made by Victory, branded by Shields, but the Vendetta Pro, can't say enough good things about the arrow. However, I do want to fabricate my own arrows. I do want to, you know, mess with some of the Easton match arrows next. So cost prohibiting, I might do that, but for now, these have been awesome. All that being said, a lot of these things on this bow are very budget conscious. A lot of these pieces are not pieces that people shooting competitions regularly or very experienced hunters would grab and want to put on their bow. But for the time that I had to get a bow tuned to shoot well at tack, this was the setup for me. So these worked really well. So again, not an authority on archery, but these pieces impress me. This bow at tack, we shot the Sitka course and the prime course, so two of the, you know, hardest courses there. I lost 4 arrows the whole time, and honestly, I was prepared to lose closer to a dozen. I had 18 arrows with me, and some of it's probably outcome of the limbs being broke down past the first few days. Maybe it shoots a little easier, but regardless, this shot really well for me with the little time that I had to prepare and really get used to it. So yeah, let's take it out. I'll shoot some arrows, show you guys how it shoots, and yeah. See how those look. Felt pretty good. It's been raining off and on, so air's a little thick, but still good. All right, I'll take that at 50. About 60. Let's see. Yeah. Check that distance a little bit. That first group at 60, not too great, but that's all right. That's how we practice. So, I don't know about you guys, but 60 is where things start to break down for me. Now, I'll have days where I'll shoot that far and it's awesome, but I'll also kind of see better results when I start to get real far, like past 80, 90. I don't know why, just all the swivel across the target. For some reason, I'm a little more comfortable with that, and I'm relaxed. But 60 is tough for me, so just wanted to mention that. All right, there they are. A little outlier, but these two not too bad off center. Yeah. So hey guys, thanks for watching this far. If you saw anything that was helpful, let us know. Put it in there. If you saw anything I need to work on, let me know. Put it in the comments. I'm open to that. But yeah, we'll see you guys on the next one.